Hello. Hi. I hope the looks quite strange. I hope the video is okay. I'll just clean the lens a little bit. I think it might be a bit. Yeah, that's better. In all truthfulness, I've kind of rushed. I've rushed to get online last minute. I've been swimming with the children and after school, and so had to come back, do a quick dinner, and then come and set everything up. So yes, it's a little bit hurried to prepare, but now we are live. Hope the audio is good. Please do say if it's not, let me know. I'll just go on, I'll just put chat on so you can let me know. It's pretty cool. You can put it on, turn it off when you want on this button. Very good. Let's save. Hey, so let me know if the audio is okay, if the video is okay or not, in chat or through Skype. My Skype address is Rebekah Maroon. Good evening, Dorth. Sound is great. Thank you for letting me know. I'll just put the chat off. I find chat quite distracting if I have chat left on while I'm doing the introduction. So I'll just turn it off. Okay. Very good. Okay, so welcome to the Thursday stream. I do this stream every Thursday when I can. Most Thursdays at 6 p.m. UK time. So you watch here on my YouTube channel, and then you can ask questions if you feel to through Skype. And my Skype is Rebekah Maroon. So send me a friend request now, and then you can, when I open it for questions, you can ask questions through there. Very good. Very good. How lovely. Okay, so what's the stream called? Yes, you are, this is it. Yay. So this is a stream talking about the most beautiful thing ever. And so there is smiling and joy. So the only suffering that humans have, and that sounds quite a radical thing to say, the only suffering that humans have, because we see the news. I don't, but I remember seeing the news years ago, and lots of people starving, around the world, people going through horrible environmental changes as the planet changes, the weather changes, and therefore there's these natural disasters that happen, and people are losing their homes, losing their jobs through various reasons. So there's so much suffering and bad things happening, so I don't say that lightly, that the suffering of humans isn't in those things. So those things are awful and they're painful and they disrupt your routine and they require action and they require real emotions to come up, of fear, of sadness, of anger, of pain, of loss. All these things happen. But I still can express that the suffering of humans is this identification with time, this living in time. So living in thought, living in mind, living in a dream of what's happening. So living in an interpretation of what's happening. This is the suffering that the majority of humans, I don't even want to say that really, but that humans have. This is the suffering, that you are someone in time, that you are a thought and a feeling and a story in time. That's the suffering. It doesn't feel that way because sometimes it doesn't feel suffering. Sometimes it feels quite exciting, or there are good things happening or coming up, and so it can feel quite positive. You know, I'm going to be doing this, I'm going there, I'm having this happen. So there are highs and pleasures that happen in the human world. So it can seem like, no, it's not all bad. There's positive emotions and experiences and things that happen, and that's true. There are there is this balance of negative, positive, this fluctuation, this change. And that is called life happening. That is called the flow of things. It's really beautiful. Really beautiful. That movement. But it really is suffering, because if you are living in that, if you're invested in that flow, when it's swinging to the right, it's good, it's high, it's brilliant, it's exciting, it's positive emotions. You've got the thing, you've got the person, you've got the object, you've got the experience, you're on the way to getting it. Woohoo! But then when there's this other part of life which is equal and as beautiful as the right side, of pain, of loss, of not having it, of not getting it, this sadness, this anger, this frustration, this pain, then it can feel awful because you're so invested in this side, in this appearance, in this experience, this form, this answer, and then it swings to the other, and that's painful. So we try really hard to make it, keep bringing it back to this, keep bringing it back to the right side, the positive, the up, the high, believing that's good, that's the answer. If we just keep it in this way, if we push away those who we don't agree with, push away those who throw a spanner basically in this side, but then it will be all right. This will be our happy ever after if we hold on to it tight enough. If we avoid and push away the dark enough, we'll have this side the whole time. But that is suffering. That is not living. That is suffering. That's fearful living. That's control. That's not trusting. That's holding on. So what's being spoken about here is not in trying to hold on to this or to try and repress this. It's like a relaxing away from both of the extremes, both of the left and the right, like a relaxing of them. And this isn't a teaching. I'm not teaching someone to do that, to relax into being, to let go of that. It's a happening. It happens. It just happens. This relaxing back into emptiness or what we are, which is total trust. It is total trust, total vulnerability, totally being what you are, which isn't a character, isn't a person. That's been the conditioning, that's been the habit programmed in, that you are a person, you are someone, you are there living life, and you are the one who gets to pick and choose and do and not do. You're responsible for that doing. And this is the closing, this is the contraction into being someone. And what's being spoken about is a collapsing of that, a releasing of that. Like you wind up a toy, you wind it and wind it and wind it, and it becomes quite wound up with energy, tight with energy. And this is like a unwinding of that. And who knows how that happened? You can't really teach how that happens. It's a happening. There's an attraction to this description, to this communication. There's a pull and a longing in all things, actually, but in some humans it's strong, this pull, this desperate looking for the answer, or looking for home, looking for a place of rest, the end of that suffering experience, the end of pain, not pain, but the end of like this awfulness, the end of this awfulness. We often don't really know what it is. It's just this sense of heaviness, or this sense of tightness or closed offness. And there are many different avenues or paths that are drawn to, but it's all leading to this freedom, this peace, this true happiness, which isn't a location in time. So in saying it's leading somewhere, it's not leading somewhere, but it seems to be leading back to what already is, collapsing back into what is. It's really bizarre, this paradox. So amazing, the paradox of it. So beautiful, the paradox of it. Normally the mind, well, at least here, the mind hated the paradox of it at first. It was because as a paradox, you can't get it, you can't grasp it, because it's a paradox. But then something happens where you could call it surrendering, or the heart can open. The heart can open. And therefore the mind isn't the king anymore. The mind's not the one who's in charge or super important. This heart opens up. Whatever that is, it's just this heart, this love, which is in all things, is all things. But it's not a love that is a thing. It's not a love that you can have and own. As a separate person. So I really thought that love was something. Love was an object. Something to have and to hold. Yeah, to have and to hold. Love was a thing. But it's not a thing. It's not something. So in capitalism, everything becomes a product, something you can barter with and you can have and put a nice package on, and you can market it and trade it. That's lovely to trade, to exchange. It's quite beautiful, really, but this is not something that you can trade. It's not something that someone can have. It's what we are. It's what everything is. It's the natural material of natural reality. And therefore it can't be had. Who would have it? Who would have it? If it's all things, who or what would be separate to then have it? It's all things. There's nothing separate from it. And this is the miracle of this. The miracle of this. Of this opening out from this dreamed limitation, from this dreamed person, this dreamed story into everything. Mm. So we are speaking here, we are connecting here, we are expressing here, we are meeting here, not to teach or not to learn anything. So words are coming out, language is coming out. There's comprehension of that language happening. But that's not all of it. That's not all of what's happening. That's merely a part. merely a part of the whole. The whole is. The whole is and isn't. The whole isn't and is. And this is all that's been longed for. This is all that's been looked for. This beingness, this empty beingness, which is all things and not a thing. Just here, just what is happening. And so the story plays, the descriptions happen, the activity happens, doing happens, stories are spoken. This seeming life moves and changes and flows. And at the same time, nothing changes. What you are doesn't change, doesn't move, doesn't flow. Just this. Okay, so I'm gonna put Skype on. And oh yeah, here's my internet, mobile data. Thank you, Dorth, for that. Letting me know the audio is okay. So feel free to call in on Skype or message on Skype. I'm now active. Roman. Hi, Roman. If I say your name correctly, Roman. Roman. Oh, sorry. Oh no, I nearly blocked you. Let me just cancel, accept. Roman from Spain. Sometimes it is said that the self tries to control or know, and other times that the self does not exist. This is confusing. Could you say something more about this? Thank you. Thank you, Roman. Sometimes it is said that the self tries to control or know. Yeah, it's very confusing to hear this contradiction, to hear the contradiction. Because the mind likes to obviously know the answer, what's being spoken about. So it has a path and it's following the logical order of something. And to have something else being said that's contradictory to that path is confusing. Which one is right? Which one is true? Which one fits into my path, my idea? So it's very confusing. What I would say is neither of them are true. So the path that you're working out in the mind, the logical route or path of understanding you have is what it is, but it's not true either. So neither of them are true. That the self tries to control or know, and the self doesn't exist. Like neither of them are true. I mean, like relatively, I could go into each one and say yes. So that the self tries to control, it tries to know, the mind tries to understand and work something out. That's the mind's job. That's the intellect's job, is to take material, read it or hear it, and then to make sense of it, fit it into its schema of understanding something. That's its job. That's not going to stop happening. It's part of its function. But that you could say that's not a person. That's the functioning of a mind to work stuff out, solve a problem. It's not a person. There isn't a person that exists. But just to blow your mind a bit, the person doesn't exist, claims that. So the sense of the person's energy is claiming the mind to be what it is. That's me. I am this mind. I am this thinking. That's how the person lives. It lives as an idea in the mind. What else can it be? This idea of who you are lives in the mind. It's an intellectual idea, but it begins to feel very, very real. It identifies with the mind, it identifies with being, and it begins to feel very real, as if it is a person, as if it is someone, as if it exists, it is being, and it's not true. That's not being, isn't a person. That sense of existence or everything isn't a person. But ultimately, nothing that is expressed is true. No ideas are true. I don't mean to like poo-poo your intellectual understanding. It's obviously it's a part of this to understand it and try to make sense of it. So to go into these ideas, these concepts, there is no person. The person claims the thoughts and ideas. So I don't mean to rubbish that. But ultimately, none of it is true. None of it is true. These words aren't true. Those words and ideas aren't true. And this is the radical waking up, the radical message that none of that is real. It's moving and changing. None of the ideas are true. They're moving and changing. This is what is happening. Is the mind gets so activated, it gets so energized. It's been living like it's so important. The mind, or thought. Again, not poo-pooing thoughts are thoughts. They aren't dangerous. They're harmless, really, but they've become so strong, so important. They've become truth. Ideas have become truth. So non-duality, which is a beautiful idea, a beautiful story, isn't truth. This is whatever's happening. This is the only freedom there is. Time doesn't hold freedom. Knowledge and knowing doesn't hold freedom. Thank you, Roman. I can smell food. I haven't eaten yet, so I might do a shorter stream this evening. So there's no more questions, I don't think. Just give it a few more minutes. Hi, Deepa. Hi, Rebekah. It feels like I should be traveling inwards to reach home. Do you agree with this? Thank you. Hi, Deepa. I should be traveling inwards to reach home. Yeah, yeah, it feels like that, like it inwards as opposed to outwards. Like it's not in experience, it's not in acquiring, it's not in the human world of things and objects and experiences. So yeah, it feels like it's going inwards, like it's inwards and not outwards. But even though it's not really true, like that there is no inwards and outwards. I think it's right here, and there's no traveling required. Like it's more too immediate to even travel to. Like what needs to take a step inward? It's right here. But yeah, describing it as going in as opposed to seeking out is a good description. I can resonate with that. Like the human attention is usually drawn out to the world, what's happening, this problem, that experience. And so it is this resting, resting, resting. Which is bizarre because it sounds so simple, and it is so simple and so easy. It is so easy and so simple, but it's not easy and simple for a person, for this time-bound entity. That's who's struggling. That's the one that needs to take steps inward. This energetic, habitual story. What you are is already this peace, this freedom, this emptiness, this fullness, this nakedness, this innocence, this purity, this love, this peace already is. Already is. Thank you, Deepa. That's a really nice question. And I have to go and eat now, I think. It's time to eat. Time to fill the belly with food. I have pasta and broccoli. So, yes. Oh, it's so lovely. So, so lovely Thank you for joining and for asking questions and connecting. Really, really, really enjoy this. Thank you. Okay, have a good week, and I shall see you next Thursday. Okay, lots of love. Bye.